want sprinkles on your brownie?
And
Amy, can you close? Amy, can you close the door for me? Or Ava? Will someone? Okay, Ava will do it. Okay. You do it. You do it.
Hi, Collin.
What's happening, man? How we doing? How we doing?
Where are you calling from? I'm curious.
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. So it's family vacation kind of thing.
Yeah. This is where my entire family is from, where I was born and raised. I moved out to California, but mom's side, dad's side, extended family, cousins, aunts, uncles, everyone's still here. So
Wow.
I try to get here as often as I can, but you can tell the travel has started to wear down on my daughter a little bit. So
Yeah, I remember traveling was, I forget Jim Gaffigan has that bit about how the dad is always in a bad mood when you're on vacation,
Mhm.
and he's like, now I understand.
Yeah, we have definitely been enjoying it. I think she's used to a certain routine, and we're not doing that routine necessarily exactly. So, you know, it
I
has
think
started
that's
to
good
work.
for her, right?
Yeah, for
To
sure.
break
She's
her
got
out
to
of the
learn,
routine.
yeah,
Yeah.
and deal with some adversity. She's an only child, so she's used to getting what she wants when she wants it, and she's here. I have younger siblings, so she's navigating how that works with attention and sharing and things of that nature. So,
So I asked you a couple days ago, like, hey, I woke up and it was Friday again.
yeah,
It's I feel like it reminds me of when Game of Thrones was on HBO, and
right, right.
every Sunday you're like, it was we don't realize how hard it is to commit once a week 1 hour on a
Yeah,
specific day. I mean that is probably why they release the shows. They just drop it all and like watch it on your own time.
right.
But I woke up and it was Friday and I was like, oh my God, Colin, let's do it. And you're like,
Yeah, yeah.
that's not. So what kind of? I feel like you're on vacation, but you're not really on vacation.
Um, the first couple of days are always like vacation-y, you know, and then obviously on a trip like this, there are necessary things that need to happen. We need to see these people, and we need to see these people, and we need to spend an hour with this person, and go spend an hour with this person. Um, so the first couple of days are usually relaxing, and then it's really like it's a choice, right? It's either like get everything done that needs to be done in the first 4 days and then relax for 3 days, or relax for 3 days and then get everything done that needs to be done.
Huh.
So, and obviously, you're familiar with my situation. So in the past, it was me, my daughter's mom, and then my daughter. The past two trips have just been myself and my daughter. So it is still a learning curve, and navigating, airport travel, and there obviously I have friends from middle school, high school, people that I grew up with that I don't get to see for the whole year.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like, hey, I'm gonna go out to dinner with this group of people, and then it's like, do I put my daughter down? Do I stay? Hey, I'm gonna be home in 2 hours and hope that she doesn't have a meltdown because dad's not here on vacation, and so that's always fun to navigate as well. I'm very fortunate. My parents uh, have allowed me this time to stay. They have a guest bedroom, so it alleviates some sort of financial pressure and driving around and having to find a sitter and hoping that I can get out when I need to get out and things like that. So it has made it a bit easier, but it's still very much a challenge of, am I doing the right thing? Am I taking too much time for me and not giving enough time to family when I'm trying to see these people who I care about deeply and miss and don't get to see that often, whether it be friends or family. So it's always, it's a balancing act of, am I doing the right thing? I think I'm doing the right thing. I'm seeing the people that need to be seen, and I'm saying the I love yous to the people that need to hear it, and that sort of thing. So
Yeah, I think that the same thing happens to me because I'm currently in Austin, and I grew up in New York, so anytime I go to New York, it definitely feels like a tsunami of things you want to do while you're back home. Uh, but I think that tsunami is self-inflicted, and it's yeah, it's definitely it's easy to state, but it's difficult to live by, which is, the people that want to see you, the people that you should see, I guess we say need to see. I think
I,
it will just happen, you know.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I've had family members that have rearranged their own schedules to be able to make time to be a part of our visits and have us be able to visit them. And then I have had friends who they text me 2 weeks before the trip, yo, can't wait to see you. It's going to be a blast. I text them, hey, I'm here. It's like, oh, I got this and I got this and I got this. And I'm like, I'm only here for, a limited amount of time. So if we're going to get together, not that it has to revolve around me, because obviously my vacation is not everyone's vacation. You still have a job and you still have obligations. But if you want to make it happen, you got to make it happen.
Yeah, I've found that classic Colin's phone going off. That is a ritual. Uh, I've found that it kind of doing it all at once or bringing them to you is the best way to do it. Say, hey, I'm staying at my parents. Come by when you can come by, and people
Yeah.
kind of swing by, and and then your friends and your family kind of meet each other, and it's so that's how I do it. My mom is really good about that. She'll usually invite the family over like weeks before I even get there and say, "Hey, come on this night. Clear your schedule. Alex is home. We'll do it all in one night." Yeah, I that pressure that we put on ourselves. It often it's not our best self. You know.
No, not at
Yeah.
all. And like you said, most of the time it is self-inflicted. So like for me, this is the first time that I have not booked out basically every hour of the trip. So typically it's like, okay, and I've said in previous episodes, I really don't like that. I don't like we're off the plane at 11, we're here by 12, we do this at 1, we do this at 2. But in the past, I felt like that's the only way that I can make this all possible. Seeing everyone that I want to see and doing all the things that I want to do, I have to like block this schedule out. This trip, I didn't do that. This trip, I was, hey, this is the day that we come into Pennsylvania. This is the day that we leave Pennsylvania. What happens in between that, if I get a text at 11 o'clock in the morning, hey, I'm free for an hour. Can I bring the cousins by? Yeah, I have no plans. I have not made any plans for that exact reason of you got free time, let's do it. I have all the free time in the world for this, the week that I'm here. So, and it's been nice.
And the schedule never works out. I mean,
Never, never.
yeah, the last one I went to New York over New Year's, and I wasn't there for very long, and I wanted to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And on the train ride into upstate New York, I like got the worst flu, strep,
Mm,
whatever, and it was just just nuked all the plans,
right.
and it ended up being a wonderful stay despite having strep.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
It almost, I mean, in that sense, it sounds like it almost forced you to really just enjoy probably familiarity of, your family and being at the house and not having to run all over the place and try to keep up with a schedule and a routine that you had planned for
yeah,
yourself. It's like, you know what? What am I going to do? I'm sick. I'm here. This is where I am.
yeah. I'm starting to wonder if let me show you something. This is I showed this on my channel. This is a general theory of love. It's my favorite book besides my own,
Mm,
um, and it the TLDR, too long didn't read, is
right.
that it claims that we're all connected by
Mm,
a I forget the term. It's like limbic resonance system. I don't know the actual thing, but I think when you go back to childhood home, and it's almost like there are pieces there that are still you, and you're kind of uh, so if you and I have an energy that transcends space and time, I just call it love, but they called it I want to say uh, I need to look it up, but I think it's the reason why we're like we schedule stuff, and it's almost like an avoidance or a oh, there's all this built up pressure, and I gotta yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. As I'm sitting here thinking about it, it's one of those things, and I think you can only really appreciate it if you are someone who grew up somewhere, followed a dream, and moved somewhere else, or maybe grew up with this feeling of either this town is too small for me or this isn't where I'm supposed to be. It's often when you move and you're away for an extended period of time and you come back to that place that there's almost a part of you that thinks, wow, maybe I wasn't too big for this town, or
Hmm.
maybe, you know, these emotions and these feelings that I had in being here were, clouded by being here and living here. And I know I get that often is, I went to the bar the other night with a couple friends of mine who I grew up with, and I'm sitting there and we're having a couple beers, and it's, your classic Pennsylvania dive bar. And I'm looking around and I'm thinking, man, I could do this. This wouldn't be a
Exactly.
bad Friday night. So it's funny to come back to a place with that you swore off. Oh, I got bigger dreams and I have bigger plans and I need to get out of here to make them happen. And which it very well could be true. And in the times that you come back, you're like, oh, wow, okay, there is some charm to this, to this small community, to this place that I grew up.
It reminds me of the Daily Show, or not the Daily Show, sorry, the morning show that Apple TV show with Reese Witherspoon. Uh,
Okay.
she was yeah. I didn't really watch. I didn't watch much of it, but I remember one of the first episodes. She was kind of done with the politics and the bullshit of the morning show, and she was literally storming off like, "I'm done. I'm done." And the producer runs after her and goes, "Where are you going? The people in the next town over are not any better." You know,
Right.
and to me it really touched me because it really spoke to her. It really reached where she was. But the truth is that you are you in the next town over, and yes, when I go back to my high school, that I still to this day despise high school, the
Right.
education system.
Right.
But when I walk the hallway, I did it recently. Uh, I thought this is beautiful,
Yeah.
and it's so sad to think that I was very miserable when I was living it.
Yeah, I mean, I was literally just having a conversation with my mom about almost exactly this of how, because there have been moments in life that seem to sort of stick or follow you, or behaviors and patterns. Obviously, with my like study into neuroscience, that's clear that behaviors and patterns are sort of embedded in you. But the conversation was essentially saying like, this has been you, or this could always be you. As far as the way that you look at life or the way that you operate in life, if you're not sort of aware of it or making changes. The conversation just happened basically because I was almost having this exact conversation with my mom of, man, it's so strange to be back here and sort of feel all the feelings I had as a 16, 17, 18, 21, 22-year old of like still, I guess when you come back to these places, you're flooded with those memories, or you're flooded with those emotions of what it was like to be a kid here and to whatever be trying to figure life out. And now me as an adult coming back here, I'm like, why do I still feel like I have to figure something out? Like I'm here on vacation and I'm sitting here like, can I do more? Can I be more? It's like
I wrote something down while you were talking because I do want to like formalize a beautiful quote, but the gist of it is that when you look back, you really only remember the good stuff, and there's trauma and things like that, but it's I say if the universe is code, love is the compiler, and
Mm.
it's designed in the way that fear fragments our thoughts. It is essentially it splits apart memories, and it's to protect us. And I like to try and pull that out of the past, right? Because you look back and you think it wasn't terrible. All this, I was just kind of focusing on the negative. So, but you can do that in the present too, and you can do it in the future. And that to me it requires trust. You have to trust yourself, trust the past you, trust the future you, because the present you depends on it.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually just today posted a video about um, that exact thing. How when you are remembering a past relationship or a past situation or friendship, your brain, each time that you're remembering the conversation or the friendship or the relationship, is creating from scratch, essentially. Like your memory is not like a storage unit of exact compilations of how it went down. Your memory is built off of the way that sort of you have interpreted and the way that it was stored in your brain. But as you remember it, you're only, this is to your point, remembering the positive, good sides of it. Your brain will actually say, this was a negative, but that was the exception to the rule. When I look at it as a whole, it was positive, which isn't always the truth. But in our self preservation and our need to not attack our own selves, it remembers the beauty. And each time you think about it, it makes it more beautiful and more beautiful and more beautiful. And that's why, sort of to this conversation, when you think about your hometown, you're remembering the beautiful parts and then you're remembering them more beautiful and more beautiful and more beautiful. And then you come back. And sometimes I know, I'm only speaking for myself here, and I'm fortunate that this hasn't happened to me. But I think that there's a real possibility that people will do that and they'll be away from home for 10, 15 years. They'll create these memories in their head and then they come back home and it's not as beautiful as they thought. And it creates this sort of breakdown in, oh my God, what happened here? What is going on here? And it's like, well, this is the same place that you left. You just created the idyllic version of it in your brain because we're looking at it through a lens of longing to be in a place that you felt safe and familiar and comfortable. And it created this beautiful world that existed in your mind, but it didn't exist in the reality of what the world is or the situation is for, this place. So I think it's interesting that we got on this topic and I just so happened to make a video about the brain function doing exactly what we're speaking about today.
I
Very
think
interesting, very, very
yes,
crazy.
I'm glad you said that because I was down these thoughts. I don't remember when. I don't think I made anything, but I should have. Maybe I will. I'll write it down. Your memory is essentially, to me, it's like a filing cabinet, and there's the good filing cabinet and the bad filing cabinet. Which filing cabinet you place that document in determines. I don't want to say the outcome, but you have thoughts, feelings, emotions, behavior, and ultimately your experience. So I think that you'd find people that enjoy their experience file things in the good cabinet in the memory, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment, right? This guy cut me off on the highway, and I'm like, "Wow, you motherfucker!" and and then you realize, oh, it snapped you out of this thing you were thinking about or something like that. But I think it comes down to trust, and you have to trust that the the past doesn't really define your present, right?
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I think obviously there are things that in your adolescence and your teenage years sort of form the way that you operate and form the way that you think and process these things. But to your point is, yeah, your past, it can't define your present. I mean, if it does, you would have no forward progression in your life. You would be the exact same person that you were at 16, 17, 18 when these things happen to you. And people say that, obviously, and I'm saying it now, you learn from your past and you take these things into the present, but I think the past informs the lessons that you choose to add value to as you grow. So when you get into the present and into the future, the lessons that you've placed value on from your past, that's really what is shaping and defining you. Now,
Yes.
people can say, "Oh, well, I had a really traumatic experience with high school and I was bullied in high school and it made me really not like school and that's why I didn't go to college," and that becomes their present. And while that is definitely something that happens to people and it's a very true reality for a lot of people, I think in those situations, and maybe it's easier for me to say because that wasn't a situation that I experienced, but it's sort of, easier to say, well, what what did you learn about yourself in those moments? And then sort of what did you learn about how you operate in that world? Because if you went to college and you said, you know what, in high school I was really timid and I didn't socialize and because of that people thought I was weird, well, then maybe when you get to college you become outwardly social and you spend more time trying to get to know people and build relationships and build bonds so people don't form their own opinions of you and whatever, just as an example. But to that point is, what do you choose to let inform your present from your past.
Yeah, that was really good. I have a quote that I wrote down again while you were talking, so I remember it. We are nothing but the sum of our data and the conclusions that we draw from it.
mm,
You're 100% right in that it's really all about your takeaway. And I took away that I actually still hold this belief that school is a giant waste of time, and I will defend that tooth and nail. Uh, well, actually, let me rephrase. I'll say because I feel like we're about to debate this. So let me put my best foot forward here. Uh, School is one of the least efficient ways to learn.
I agree, and the reason I agree is because I heard something the other day, and I didn't fact check this, so maybe I should have done my due diligence. But basically, the statistic was that all of the top elites or performers in the world, none of them have ever sent their children to public school. Even the man who created the public school system did not send his own children to
Wow,
public school.
I didn't know that. Who is that? Who created the public school system?
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna be a bad podcaster right now and pull my phone out.
That is an
Um,
opinion, Colin, and one that neither of us have. I will tell the viewers when I was in a space on X, and they were talking about how do we deal with school shooting, and this guy was speaking about this system that he developed and he wants to implement in schools to make children safer, and I raised my hand and they called on me. They gave me a mic, and I said the solution is not to fix what's broken; it's to replace it. And I said, if I ever have kids, or when I have kids, I will never send them to public school. And he refuted it, and he was like, well, we got to. And he goes, but yeah, I'm not sending my kid to public school. No fucking way. And I was like, there you go.
so here's what I found. So
Yeah.
Horace Mann is widely regarded as the father of American education,
His name's
championing Horace Mann.
Horace. Horace
Uh,
Mann. That seems made up. It seems like
you
they
would
just
think
invented that. And not to put my tinfoil hat on, but That guy didn't exist.
What I'm seeing here is he homeschooled his own children. So he's widely recognized as sort of the pioneer behind the American standardized education system, and he himself homeschooled his children. All that to all that to sort of go to your point, and I agree. I mean, you hear it all the time when people, comedians or people talking about, not a single time in my life have I ever needed to use the Pythagorean theorem, or really a lot of a lot of what was taught. And there's sort of the common thought that public schools sort of just create workers and create people who can follow directions and sort of
I think
function
it's
in
worse than
leadership.
that. I think it's. I have a song called "Brainwash Curriculum," and it school rules with fear, and it's pass the test, get the grade, and wave the flag real high is the lyric in the song. Uh, but to me, intelligence is, it's meritocracy disguised as wisdom. I think I've said that before, but it is. Martin Luther King taught us that all humans are created equal, and I truly believe that. Even someone who was, even someone who like Einstein, who founded two laws of the universe, and the 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 man who picks up your trash. I think there's no difference between the two, with the exception of our love and our fear, or our open mind and our closed mind. All that to say, there are no stupid people, there are only fearful people.
Hmm.
School made me very, very afraid. It was, who am I sitting with at lunch? Am I gonna, I'm gonna have to get this grade signed by my parents, and I got a 42. I didn't even fill out half the questions. And my best friend in school growing up, K through 12, was the valedictorian of the class.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was probably the what's the I was probably the least valedictorian.
Right.
I was at the bottom and he was at the top, and we were best friends. And that to me is the perfect example of, uh yeah, it's meaningless, and a lot of kids get their worth from school.
I think I definitely, there were parts, and I think even teachers would probably agree, maybe not, that there are definitely some very, very important parts of schooling, socializing and conflict resolution, and navigating stress and challenges. And then obviously when you get into the real world, like some jobs have deadlines and have due dates, and you have to pull all-nighters to make those things happen. And obviously in higher education, as you get into sort of the more, it's really hard to homeschool your kid into being an astrophysicist. While I'm sure it's possible, it's probably pretty tough
With
to.
AI, I think it's different, but
The
you're
world
right.
is definitely
It doesn't like if you handed a 4-year-old ChatGPT, uh, they would be missing out on a lot of life. They would probably be super smart and they'd get along with ChatGPT and they'd be really into stuff and they'd be happy, but they're the elements of public school that are good aren't don't transfer. And that, yeah, to me you give them a community. You basically you commingle your child. You say, hey, go outside and play with the neighbors. That's what I did. That was my socializing, because it didn't really happen for me in school. It was school got out, the bell rang, and I went home and we played on the block, kickball.
right.
If I just went to Chat GPT University for 2 hours, even I think like 1 hour a day, even 30 minutes, and then went right outside, I think the world would be a much better place.
Yeah, well, obviously with the way that the world is changing now, and the access to AI, and sort of kids being able to get their, because even myself being 31, like the internet was there, but a lot of the writing and sort of papers that needed to be handed in, you needed book sources. You needed to say, well, the book that I found in the library that I got this information from and be able to cite it. Whereas now, I'm sure there's,
It's
I
synthesized. It's
yeah,
all yeah.
and and this is the same for our parents, and my mom would say, oh well, we didn't even have the option to Google to verify that what we're writing was true. We had to go into the book, and if that's what the book said, then that's what the book said, and that was the end of it. And then for our grandparents, who knows? It's you got one book, and that's what you have. You know what
The
I mean? So
Bible, yeah.
right, right,
They're all
right,
working off the same book.
right, right, right. But yeah, I mean, definitely. Yeah, I'm thinking now, I can't even imagine what papers will look like when my daughter is in high school and having to write papers. And, I'm
Don't
sure that
send her
there
to high.
will.
Don't send her to high. Send her for 1 year. And you know what? What I would do is homeschool or not even homeschool in the sense that you decide, and then
Right,
say a lot of kids go to this place, and you're welcome to go if you'd like, and then it she chooses every day, she gets up and she chooses to go to school, and
right,
that the even if they want to, because I never wanted to. I was against my will, and that right there, you get up on the wrong foot immediately, and I'm already doomed to fail.
right. I have heard of these schools. I'm sure they're all over. I have heard about ones in sort of the Pacific Northwest where you have class time and then you have like real life. You're out and you're in the woods foraging, or you
Hmm.
take trips to the
It
farm to
sounds like
learn how.
Montessori. Is that what it
Oh,
is?
oh I well, it's not. I'm sure there are some Montessori aspects. Um, I think these schools specifically are created for families who are interested in nature and sort of maybe some sort of off-grid living at some point, or getting in touch back with our ancestral roots, if you will, where you're learning what needs to be learned to be successful in 2026 in today's day and age, but you're also learning how to identify plant species, or how to identify you know different animal species, which I think
Hmm.
is really interesting because you can do that, which obviously it's done like in biology and things like that in traditional schooling. For me, I was always a hands-on learner. I always needed to be able to physically work with something, or do something with it to understand it. And I think that's really interesting. You're taking what would traditionally be taught in a book where you're looking at photos, and instead these kids are getting out into the woods and,
Yes.
okay, we're going to learn about the fern and the ficus, or, you know,
If you're learning biology, yes, I think that that's the best way to do it, because I learned from the book, and I couldn't tell you a single thing about biology
right,
except for abiotic and biotic, which to me isn't even true. I think all things are living, non-living, whatever. That's I feel like it's
right,
answering the wrong question or asking the wrong question. But um, to me, you brought me back because you're thinking about how do I set my kid up to be most successful in the world, and my dad was into computers, and without asking my mom, and she was very very upset when he came home with a very very expensive and silly white beige box that said IBM, and she's like, what the fuck is this thing? And he spent a month's salary on it, and she had no idea what it was. And when he was at work, I was on the computer and I was hitting buttons. No, my mom didn't know what it was,
right.
and that his that was all I needed.
Yeah.
Um, so buy your daughter a computer.
Well, it's funny. I think back to my time in elementary school and even in middle school, where chat, AIM, was a thing. AOL Instant
Do
Message,
you
and
remember High Five?
the name strikes me as familiar. I wouldn't be able to think of it off the top of my head, but um, I think with that, and
See
this
how
is
much you're
maybe
smiling right now? That's what you should give to your child. You know what
well,
you should
this
do?
is
You should
maybe a reach.
buy a computer and just put it somewhere. Set it up and
Right,
don't
right,
even, and then one day she'll find it, and then one day she'll find the power button, and then one day she'll be brave enough to open a program, and then before you know it, she'll be like, "Dad, your Instagram videos are so," you know what I mean? And then she'll be like keyframing shit before you even know it.
Right, right. Well, she does enjoy, and this I like. I mean, I don't know. I think some people would be like, "No, it's too early," but
Never.
there are moments where I'm on the computer and I'm doing research, or I'm writing up a script, or I'm editing a script that I want to film, or something that I want to post, and she will often come over and be like, "Can I help you work?" Like, yeah, go ahead, go type away, and click the
I
buttons,
love
and
that.
because I think it obviously gives her a sense of like connection to what I'm doing, but also we are in a technology dominated time right now, and there is going to come a period of time where she needs to familiarize herself with how to use a computer, and the reason I brought up AOL instant message is because it lent itself so perfectly to Slack, I guess is the thing that a lot of like remote workers use to
Mm.
stay in contact with their coworkers and things, but that very much feels like just an adult upgraded version of AOL Instant Messenger, where you're just like
Yeah.
writing to people all day through this very quick, like, chat room
It's
essentially.
it's a crappier Discord if you really if you ask me.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think it's really too early for anything for a child on in terms
Right.
of a computer. I remember I think it's kind of foreign now. In 2004, I think I had my first computer. I was 6 or 7,
Right.
and to for a child to be on unsupervised computer or internet now, I think is like people would say that's insanity. And to me, it was a blessing. I really feel like I just got in under the wire there, where today I would grow up with a Chromebook that's more locked down than solitary confinement.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, I think I would agree in the sense of we definitely grew up in a time where the internet was so misunderstood that unmonitored internet time didn't really seem like that big of an issue. Now, me being a parent, thinking back, I just think to myself, there were so many videos that now would be placed on the dark web that would not be accessible through Google.
Yes. Right.
And those videos, you could just Google them and they would pop up.
They were on
Now, obviously,
YouTube. They were literally on YouTube. Do you remember?
right.
I mean, Live Leak was kind of the next iteration after
Yeah.
YouTube was like, actually, wait, let's do something.
Yeah.
But I lost my train of thought. Continue talking.
Yeah. I just think, and, you know, there was a video that I'm sure anyone who is our age will probably be familiar with the title of Two Guys, One Hammer. And
No, I don't know that one.
oh, you are fortunate. Me, me even saying the name, I can vividly remember that video.
I'm
Anyway,
watching it.
that's that's only to say that if my daughter at this time was to stumble upon something like that, I would be like mortified because this was over 20 years ago that I found this video and watched it. I still can vividly remember it.
Oh
So
my
now
god.
we do live in a time where you know some monitoring or supervision is definitely necessary, especially because now it's a time where people are really taking advantage of. I think weirdos back in the day didn't understand how good they may have had it back in the day in like
Right.
non-monitored internet, you know?
Yeah, I can
Now
post
it's
me
like,
and I'm fine. Yeah.
yeah. Now it's like, okay, well, hold on, Fortnite is a little bit crazy, or, Club Penguin, which was like a thing. That even started to get a little bit crazy of weirdos getting on there and
Yeah,
trying to be weird.
weird. Weirdos. I hate gaslighting people, but essentially, anytime you do anything in life, there's gonna be one weird person. To me, I think of like Numa Numa guy. You remember that video, like Newman?
Yeah.
And I recently I made a video I think last month that said Numa, this was love, and it was a compilation of essentially really old, nostalgic videos set to a song that I wrote. Gary, who's the Numa guy, Gary Bralsman, is Brawls. I don't know how to say his last name. I gave him $10,
Nice.
and in the comments, and I said thank you for years of joy. I mean, when I was a kid, I we laughed at him, we laughed with him, and looking back, I think that it he gave joy to millions, and it was
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
him being himself online.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that this is a very interesting time to be on the internet, and because I think there are a lot of people who are online now wanting to build careers out of doing exactly that, spreading joy and positivity through jokes or funny videos and things. And I think like that, his name is Gary.
Yeah, Gary. Yeah,
If you would have told him when he was making that video that, hey, in 15 years, people are going to make a living off of doing exactly what you're doing, or
he makes a living off that one video,
I'm sure.
and
He,
yeah.
but that's one of those situations where he would be like, someone's going to make a living off of doing this? Like, the world is just such a crazy place now. The internet especially is such a crazy place.
A lot of people say that like YouTube is just for money now, and I would kind of agree, kind of not agree, because I think that I just think of a kid growing up today is watching Mr. Beast. Probably, they're gonna watch like they're gonna click on a video where the guy's like, and then it's like top five craziest hotels in the
Right.
world, and then so I think that we were really special in the sense that we got a raw, authentic, unfiltered. It wasn't teams of people building these videos. Like most channels have a person dedicated to making a thumbnail, and that to me is insanity. People used to just hit record and
Right.
upload, and then the people that got good with editing would blow your mind. It was like they were George. There was a George Lucas in every house. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right. Absolutely.
yeah, so I love that video, and I'm gonna link it, I guess, in the description. But I would love your thoughts on it because I know you will love it.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. It's funny you brought up Mr. Beast when you were talking about, people on YouTube. And I, obviously being a 31-year-old man, I'm not often on YouTube watching Mr. Beast and,
What
uh
do you watch? Are you how much do you YouTube?
I use YouTube for podcasts
Good.
primarily.
That's a
But
good answer.
for complete honesty, I have come across a couple of Mr. Beast videos
Of
that I
course.
have
Yeah.
seen, and I'm like, wow, this is a really interesting title. Let me give it a watch. And dude, some of his videos
They're
are
all
banger.
they're all amazing.
Yeah,
He is literally putting his life in every single video. Like it's to him it's life and death. It's this project is a missile's coming at me and we have to make this video. That's he is the apex of YouTubers. But
yeah,
to
and I
yeah,
think
go ahead.
to your point of YouTube is all about money, and that is probably the truth for 95% of creators. In some of these videos in particular, now obviously his videos are all about, stay here for 100 days and I'll give you $250,000, which is a blessing for a lot of those people. Some of these videos, I just saw one the other day. He built 100 freshwater wells
Yeah.
in towns and communities that didn't have access to clean drinking water. Now that's really doing something with your power and your financial gain from YouTube.
He's one of the few who was I mean like the ocean thing where he cleaned up the beaches and the
Right.
tree thing like Elon Musk gave him money. Elon's like here. Like I mean that to me is like if Elon's giving you money, you're doing something amazing for the world, right? So
It's
yeah.
definitely like that's one of those moments where like, I see a video like that, and my younger brother is right around, I'm sure, his peak demographic. But I think to myself, man, I hope that he sees some of these videos and thinks, wow, it would be cool for me to grow up and be able to give back like that.
Hmm.
Because I think the world really, especially right now, needs more people want care. The whole thing, wanting to love the people around them and give to the people around them who need it.
Don't hope, Colin. Just trust.
Yes.
He is really inspiring to millions.
Yeah.
I got emotional just thinking about it. Like I did a 21st anniversary me at the zoo because that's the as you know that me at the zoo is the first video of
Right.
Jawed at the zoo. Hopefully I said his name right, but and I made a song that's just it's only the words he said in the video. So he says like, hey guys, and that's pretty much all there is to say. And I made a
Right.
whole I wrote a whole song just on like those 3 lines, and it really it. I don't even think Chad, Steve, and Jawad knew that they would change the world forever when they uploaded a video of him standing at the zoo. But that
Yeah.
is what happened.
And it's funny now, sort of in what we're doing, that simple video was able to, connect two strangers who are now sort of on this mission to help people through love, positivity, a deeper understanding of themselves and the world around them, and how they operate. And I think we're very fortunate, just in this sort of lane of thinking, that these people decided to do this, because it has given not only us but millions of other people an opportunity to create something that feels meaningful and valuable, and share it with people that are looking for value and wisdom and hope and love.
And we have to get. I really don't want to give Google much rope because they're. I see a lot of posts about hey I got demonetized and stuff like that, but they really when they bought it. I mean everyone. I think the reaction was negative, but they have done like a good job with YouTube, uh, and really I really thought of this when they removed the dislike button. I thought that was that everyone hated that. I mean,
Right.
there's a one of the most popular extensions is return the YouTube dislike. But I really think that they made the right call there.
I didn't even know that's how little time I'm on YouTube. I didn't even know that happened. I didn't even know that was a thing.
They came out and said hey, you can still dislike a video, it just doesn't show you the count. Right? It only shows you likes. And they said, hey guys, we've come to the conclusion that the dislike is just to so everyone can pile on and it when the YouTube Rewind became the most disliked video and the Justin Bieber thing, it was almost like a hate competition. So, and I agree completely. What's cool is that the creator, like, I can see the dislikes on a video, so I can still take that like, oh, 1,000 people saw this and 70% disliked it. Let's not do
Right.
that. Let's do something else. So it's still it takes the power away from the hater, but it still provides value for the creator.
Yeah,
And yeah,
that's really interesting. And I think that's really, I'm thinking about it now, like really powerful, because I'm sure that there were so many people who had videos that they were really passionate about, and they got piled on, and it makes someone feel like, well, maybe I shouldn't do this, or maybe I shouldn't whatever.
yep. It's all the only time it was relevant was when it was like a creator versus or a channel versus channel war, and they would just barrage dislikes. I mean, there was never, and people say like, what about like those fake, like click this link and you can download this thing and it's a scam. We need the dislike button. If
Right.
you see a tutorial and the comments are turned off, you know what I mean, and it looks fishy, just well, you already know. Don't do it.
Right.
You don't need the dislike button.
Right. Yeah, that's very true. And I was there. I don't know why I felt like there was a dislike button on Instagram, I know that that is not the case. I don't think there was ever a thumbs down button on
There,
Instagram. But
there was. It used to be a thumbs up, and then
hmm
they changed it to a heart, I think, and
right,
then it went back to you can do whatever you want now.
right, right,
And that was controversial too when it went from like to heart. It was like, what the hell?
right.
But it's love. I mean, it's more love.
Yeah,
And I have that famous quote: "He who fears one is one who fears all." That's the saddest part to me about fear is that even love is scary sometimes,
right. Yeah,
and our
yeah,
reaction is to treat it as a threat.
yeah. And that's, I mean, I have posted so many videos about how I just recently posted a video because I don't know if we talked about this last time. I see so many people posting online. I give up on love. I don't want to be loved. All these, if I'm not meant to be loved, please remove the longing to be loved from my life. And it's
I
just like,
always respond to those. And if you see one, please send it to me because I will. I
yeah,
respond to every single one of them. Like that.
yeah,
That to me is, to me, they're almost there, right? They're almost like they're afraid of everything and anything, even love, and then they're like, "You're right there. Just keep going." You know?
it feels like it would make connection of any kind impossible. Platonic, romantic, like because at the end of the day, like yes, you can have friends who you don't love, and it's just very like, hey, this is a buddy of mine. But for the most part, the meaningful relationships in your life, the meaningful connections that you have, really are like, this is a friend of mine who I love dearly, and I have love for this person. So this idea of like remove my desire to love and be loved is
They're
like
talking
what?
about the fear. They're talking about the
Yeah,
absence. They're talking about love's absence.
absolutely.
Yeah, and let it's a good time to remind everyone of the theory of love, which is, it's most commonly associated with a romantic relationship, something you kind of give to another. Self love is kind of the I don't want to say the more the newer one, the modern one. It's like love yourself, which is really true and important. But love is a force, and it's like in the general theory of love, it literally transcends space and time. It connects us. It's the stuff. It's an organizing principle of every. To me, it's everything under the sun. Um, but yeah, it. I just think of YouTube, and I loved YouTube. And when I went home from school, I would get I had a Kindle Fire.
Oh no.
It was like $150, and but it had YouTube, and I would cook bagel bites in the microwave, go up to my room, lay in my bed, and I would watch tons of creators. You meet friends, and you fall in love with the creator. Yeah, it's definitely like YouTube is partly responsible for the theory of love. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't for me personally, like, if it wasn't for sort of seeing creators on YouTube, sort of talking about the things that I'm now talking about, or, going and seeing videos of people on public speaking tours, addressing a room full of people and really bringing positivity to their life, I don't know, if I would have ever felt like this is a career path that I can pursue and make a life out of. But then seeing these people, and also not only that, but seeing like, wow, the impact that this person has had on the lives of these people is so profound that if for me anyway, like I have felt called to do this for a very long time. It is only, sort of recently that I've stepped into that calling. But because of, sort of you're saying like seeing these videos on YouTube and then obviously as it progressed, seeing these videos on Instagram and things really gave me the push to say, oh, well, you've had this calling, you're seeing these people do it in real time, you know that these people are providing value. Why not you? Which is really at the end of the day what started it for me was like, well, why not me? I This is something that I want to do and have been passionate about for so long and have felt called to do and compelled to do, is be of service to people who are in a situation or in a life changing season that I have found myself in. If I have gained the wisdom at the end of this or have walked through some of these storms, it would be a disservice to not put this message out for other people to gain wisdom and understanding from, you know? But to your point, you know, that came from seeing it happen,
Mm-hmm.
seeing someone else talking to people, giving value, giving wisdom, changing lives, and saying, I want to do that. That's who I want to be, you know? And if it wasn't for sort of all of these apps, you know, it would just be, if you know this guy, you know this guy, and you book a ticket to his conference, and after that, nothing comes of it. But now these people have the opportunity to put it online and have millions of people see it. People like you and I who go, oh, I think it's time for me to grab the reins of this part of my own life and spread this message, you know?
That's the I always think of Elon um, calling. I disagree with Elon on politics, as many do. Um, but he called Twitter before he bought it like the town square, and that
Mm,
so to me we were kind of in a period where people like you had to go outside. I mean, some people even lived outside, and you got together and you shared ideas and you kind of formulated. You got feedback and you really speaking your voice. It's almost like you learn in that itself.
yeah,
Um, and then we got all these comforts, all these joys, all these luxuries of modern life, and and then it was like now we're not sharing, now we're not collaborating, we're not providing each other feedback, and then
yeah,
it's almost like you get lost because if you're not saying anything, you don't have a message, you don't have a voice and whatnot. Um, and then social media is essentially the modern town square, and I think a lot of people focus on the negative of social media. Like they'll point to the Instagram study that says, it makes kids miserable, and I think in its instance it's true because Instagram itself said that. Um, but a lot of people who everyone has the calling to help others. I mean, we are made with love by making love, and that's why we're here. And I tell those people like we need you. We need you online. Like we need you to rise and be positivity in a sea of negativity. Even though, once a day later, once the algorithm learns you, you really don't see any negativity. Um, yeah,
yeah. I agree. I think social media is powerful in two sides of life. It's really powerful in telling you you're not doing enough, you haven't made enough, you're not successful enough in life. But what it's also really good at doing is telling you like things are going to be okay, you know. There's a side that's really helpful. In fact, I'm scheduled to do another podcast with a woman who speaks on sort of growth after divorce and how you can empower your life and grow
I can't
from
wait to see that because I'm
it's
still
yeah
married, but it's impending.
it's gonna be good, man. It's gonna be
I
good.
think I saw. Did you find her on Threads by chance?
Yes,
I saw that. I saw you send a message, and I think I hearted it, and I was like, if she has, if she has her
yeah,
wits about her, she'll pick you. So I'm
but
happy for you, and I share it online, and
yeah,
yeah, can't
but
wait.
that's to that point of there are people who are in a season of separation or divorce or even breaking up from a long-term partner that feel like I'm not going to survive this. And there's people out there online to remind you that, hey, yes, you will.
Yeah, there's
You know,
I'm on X now because Threads. Zuckerberg got rid of me. They say I'm not Alex James Bilodeau, which to me is a compliment. Like they think Alex James Bilodeau is so important that they're banning the impersonators. But there's a girl, her ex name is Posh, and almost every day she tweets, "Single people are happy," with like an emoji. And I'm technically I'm married and whatnot. She gets a lot of engagement on that, and people are like, yes, 100%, and then people are like, the people are kind of miserable in the sense that they don't have someone.
Hmm.
That alone, people just posting single people are happy every single day is changing someone's life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think if you just open the app and it says like what's on your mind, and you type
Hmm.
in that box, and I think a lot of people would think they know exactly what they want to say, and then it comes to the box, and they go to type it, and it's like, wait. And that's the cool, amazing thing about it, is that it's out there, and it's going to be out there forever, even though not really, because Threads nuked my account. I wish it was still out there, but it's not. Uh, but it gives you, forces the introspection and the curiosity, and it gives you the love, essentially, that you need.
It also reminds you that you're not alone, that your situation may feel like you're the only one on the planet who's experiencing it. You type into that box, hey, my day was XYZ, and you'll have at least one or two people that say, are you following me around with a camera? Because guess what?
Yeah.
They're living it too.
Are
You're
we
not alone.
sister? Are we twins?
Right.
Yeah, and that's amazing. And then you follow each other, and then before you know it, it's a DM, and then before you know it, you're on a podcast with them. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
think that's a good spot to end. We're at an
Oh, yeah.
hour, and you're on vacation. Uh, don't fear, Colin. Only love, my friend.
Theory of love, steady and true, holding the world the way that it moves. Theory of love, echoes in the past, all that we are lives in the past.